26th meeting of the Montachusett Public Health Network. I now call this meeting to order. Please be advised that FATV is conducting an audio and video recording of this meeting for public broadcast. I ask that anyone else in the audience who is recording this meeting to please identify themselves for the record now by standing and state your name and city of residence. At this time, I ask that all electronic devices be placed into silent mode. I invite anyone in the audience who wishes to speak to please approach the podium, identify yourself by name and address, and identify the agenda item on which you would like to speak, and then you may speak on it for no more than 2 minutes. Okay. Seeing no one wishing to speak.
Wait.
Oh, okay.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Chelsea Patrice. I'm a resident of Westminster. I'm with the Health Equity Partnership for North Central Mass, and I wanted to speak on the topic of the PHE grant funding, but mostly just about partnership and kind of reintroduce myself. So the Health Equity Partnership, along with many other community partners, had been frequent guests at MPHN meetings throughout many years prior to COVID, and then things kind of happened, and I know, I think communication channels maybe changed, and it's been a little harder to connect. So I apologize for a long absence, and hello to people who I don't already know, and I wanted to just kind of take that opportunity to introduce myself, introduce the Health Equity Partnership. We represent the 27 cities and towns of all of North Central, encompassing all of the MPHN communities, plus some of the communities in the Neshoba Associated Boards of Health region, and a couple of others. And wanted to just kind of offer that we have several opportunities for partnership. I know, both the MPHN and the Chenanai and the Health Equity Partnership are in different places financially, with a lot of new funding that's come in that's intended to benefit the region, and wanted to make sure that we have the opportunity to connect on how we're stewarding those resources. That's me.
Okay, thank you.
Chair?
Yes, sir.
Phil Legere, Town of Royalston. Maybe she could be put on a future agenda item to discuss more in detail, because I got about this much of what you said. So either if you have information that can be sent to the network for us to look at prior to being put on the agenda, that would help.
Yep, definitely. All right.
I made note of that, Phil. Thank you.
Okay. Seeing no one further wishing to speak, we will now move on to our agenda. First on the agenda is the meeting approval of the past meeting minutes and the FY25 budget approval.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
Do I have to say to the man behind the screen, do I have to say who I am each time? Man behind the screen?
You said
no? Okay. Just checking. Do we have minutes? I don't remember seeing them. If we don't,
They were sent in the attachment with the agenda.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't have them. I didn't print them. They were sent on Friday.
here we go. Let's see.
We can waive it and move it to the next if nobody's ready to make a motion on it.
I moved the minutes.
I'll second that.
Okay. So do we have a roll call vote on approving the minutes?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
is there any discussion?
Oh, any discussion?
Changes, corrections, deletions? Anybody? Oh, sorry.
Okay, roll call. Athol?
He's there.
Yep. Gardner?
Aye.
Lemonster?
Aye.
Phillipston?
Aye.
Royalston?
Aye.
Sterling?
Abstain. I wasn't participating in that meeting.
Okay, and Templeton?
I wasn't at the meeting either, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Laura, Steve is here.
5 votes. Oh, Steve? Fitchburg?
Storing business equipment on a lot is considered business use.
Steve, you're on mute. Doing a roll call for the minutes?
Yes.
Okay. We have 6.
Okay, so those are approved?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Sorry.
That's okay. So next would be moving on to the Public Health Excellence FY25 budget approval.
Good morning, everybody. In Steve's absence, I will go through the budget for fiscal year 25. For fiscal year 25, we were level funded from fiscal year 24, so no changes, increases, or decreases in funding. If it is allowable for everybody, I will highlight the changes from fiscal year 24 to 25 going through this. Is that okay with everybody in attendance? Yep. All right. Very good. So the first change is our funding for our shared services coordinator. In fiscal year 24, the shared services coordinator was funded through a combination of private funding, which we received from the National Council on Aging in fiscal year 24, the state previously called contact tracing grant, now the infectious diseases grant. Names keep on changing, and also public health excellence at 0.5 FTE, sorry, too many acronyms. In fiscal year 25, the shared services coordinator will be fully funded through the public health excellence grant, and that is due to changes in those other funding streams which previously funded that position. And I will pause briefly after each line item for any questions, so feel free to hop in. The next change is funding in the public health nurse position. Previously, the public health... Yes.
You skipped health inspector.
Yes, so the health inspector, there's no changes for fiscal year 25 compared to 24.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yep.
All right, very good. The public health nurse in fiscal year 24 was funded 0.5 FTE municipal funding and 0.5 FTE PHE funding, and that funding has been increased on PHE to fully funded. And the reason for that is due to the municipal budget shortfalls in the city of Fitchburg, and so we required utilizing public health excellence funding for the public health nurse to keep that position fully funded. Phil?
So, without getting too much detail, so that public health nurse is going to serve all the communities?
Yes.
Including Fitchburg?
Correct. It will be a fully regional position.
So then the Fitchburg portion of the public health nurse was taken out of their budget?
Yeah, so the public health nurse used to be used to spend half of their time in Fitchburg and half of their time regional, and because of the staffing changes that we've had between fiscal year 23 and fiscal year 25, that Fitchburg work is now distributed between all of the regional staff. And so that is why the public health nurse can now be allocated fully regionally, including Fitchburg as one of the MPHN communities.
Just to follow up on that, I have no problem with it being funded regionally, but basically Fitchburg no longer has a public nurse on their direct budget?
That is correct. For fiscal year 25, that is true. Whether or not that will change in fiscal years 26 and beyond.
All right, just want to clarify that.
Yeah, that is true. And that was, like I mentioned, due to a very large and unprecedented budget shortfall in the municipal budget this year. Don't quote me on this because I was not involved in the budget process, but I believe it was somewhere to the tune of $7 million or something of the like.
So that's,
I remember from
that's
council.
citywide?
Citywide, yeah.
So all the budgets took a hit?
I believe that is correct, yes. All departments had, from remembering from watching the public meetings, the budget meetings that the councilors mentioned, all departments had to make a certain amount of cuts to their department budget. And the Board of Health or Health Department was included in that.
And you have a new mayor, right? Is that it?
That is correct, as of January 3rd, maybe?
Yep.
Did you have anything to add to that, Steve?
Yeah, all departments were to make a 3 to 5% budget cut, and all vacant positions at the time were considered a hiring freeze. So the position was vacant at the time, so we weren't able to rehire.
A part of that.
So what Steve was saying was that when the shortfalls in the municipal budget in Fitchburg were identified, the mayor put in place a temporary pause on hiring. And so because the public health nurse position was vacant at that time due to the recent retiring of Kathy Jones, the public health nurse position is not filled currently, but will be filled, I believe, relatively shortly now that the fiscal year 25 budget in Fitchburg has been approved.
So who's doing that? Who's doing that public health nurse job?
So the all of the Maven work and case investigations are being handled by myself and our case investigators. And when nursing is required, we have contracted nursing staff that can assist us as needed.
So you will have a full-time nurse at some point?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. All right.
We just don't have a full-time nurse at this moment because of that requirement for the hiring pause or freeze or whatever it was called.
Freeze.
Freeze,
Hiring
pause.
freeze.
Yeah.
We've all been frozen in the past at one time or another.
All right. Any further questions on the nurse line item? Okay. The epidemiologist, there's no change from fiscal year 24 to 25, as was the health inspector, like I mentioned. The other public health staff, so that line item includes our case investigation and resource coordinator. This position is very similar to the shared services coordinator, where it was previously funded by multiple funding sources, including that, I'm going to call it contact tracing grant for simplicity, that state contact tracing grant, and also the National Council on Aging immunization funding, which we had in fiscal year 24. This year, we do not have the National Council on Aging funding, as that funding ended at the end of April, and we have not identified any additional, I guess we would call them private funding sources. And the contact tracing grant is continuing. So in order to supplement the funding for those positions, we have budgeted to utilize PHE. As a reminder, these staff do a wide variety of things in the MPHN, including Maven work, as I just mentioned. They also are working quite a lot on our fall respiratory season, which is grown to be quite large and extensive. So they do all of our billing. They come and work at our clinics when we require additional staff. They manage our phones for people calling to register and ask questions, among other immunization-related things. Another example of something they do is our childhood lead poisoning prevention work. We have a case investigator who manages the CLIP database and provides case management services to children with elevated blood lead levels, and many other initiatives that I won't continue to list. Another one, thinking, because Michelle's in front of me, I'm thinking about it. They also work very closely with the school districts on the routine pediatric immunizations, particularly in our larger districts of Fitchburg and Leominster. They've also supported quite a lot of the work in our emergency assistance shelters in Gardner, Westminster, and Fitchburg. And so these staff are really crucial to a lot of the work we do in MPHN. And Catherine and I definitely would not be able to front all of that on our own. So we are very appreciative of them, and grateful we have PHE to supplement their funding. Any questions on that line item? Okay. The last staff line item on the fiscal 25 budget for PHE is our clerk. The only change for the clerk is very minor, just decreasing for FTE from 0.33 in fiscal 24 to 0.25 in fiscal 25. And this is due to various funding and staffing changes in the department. We had a clerk, a municipal clerk, retire, and due to some things, which I believe includes the open position situation we just talked about, that position won't be filled. And so that's why there's just a slight change on the funding of that position.
Okay.
Does anyone have any questions? All right. And then there's no changes on the fringe benefits and payroll tax line item other than an increase due to the changes in the positions. The percentage itself didn't change, but that funds the respective FTE of all of the personnel fringe benefits, including health insurance, payroll taxes, et cetera. Does that sound okay to everybody? All right. So on the next page, the first line item listed as consultant, I recognize that is a very vague word. These are predetermined words that we have to stick by. So the consultant line item includes nurses who we rely on to supplement any public health nursing needs we have. A big example of this is during the fall when we have our flu clinics. We cannot host flu clinics with just one public health nurse. And so we have a group of retired nurses who supplement our needs to host flu and COVID and other clinics during the fall respiratory season, in addition to MRPC volunteers. And also, if there are any additional public health nursing needs, for example, any requirements for direct observation therapy for tuberculosis patients, or anything else of the like. And so that line item supplements any public health nursing needs that we may have. An additional costs included in that line item is for our health communications. We have the opportunity to partner with Communicate Health, which is a health communications organization who can support us in communication needs region-wide that we may have. And so they can support us with developing social media, education educational materials, I will say, for simplicity, other educational materials that may be helpful for any programs that we are rolling out to have at health fairs that we go to, or to give to the residents when we are engaging in those activities. And so I think that this will be a really great change for us in the MPHN. A lot of the communications has been done by myself or Catherine, and neither one of us are health communications experts. And health communications is more important now than it has ever been, and so I think that this will be much appreciated and will be available to all of the MPHN communities. So likely how this will work is I will receive a material from Communicate Health and then share it with each one of the towns for posting, if you would like, on your health department or Board of Health Facebook page or town Facebook page, or wherever you would prefer. And that is all for the consultant line item. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. The next line item is membership fees. There's no significant change from fiscal 24. This funds memberships for things like MOA, for example, for our regional staff that are listed on the first staff page that we went through. Next line item, nursing supplies, also no significant change from fiscal 24 to fiscal 25. The nursing supplies, fairly self-explanatory, I think, funds things like syringes, needles, Band-Aids, etc., that we use at clinics and other public health nursing activities. Technology hardware, that line item funds our phone bill for the year for our regional phones, which are utilized by myself, our shared services coordinator, and our case investigation staff. Technology software, that line item, a couple of changes to that one. It funds, so we have purchased new monitors for our vaccine fridge and vaccine freezer in Fitchburg. These monitors will assist us in making sure that our vaccine is safe and sound should there be any power outage where, for one reason or another, the generator does not turn on. So what these temperature monitors do is they have the capability to send our regional staff a message, a text message, or a phone call alerting to any temperature excursions. So if that happens in a time when we are not physically in the office, evenings, weekends, holidays, then we can go get our vaccine and bring it to the emergency storage location until the fridge is back up and running. And then the other change is we are working on purchasing some new interpretation equipment that we can utilize to communicate with our residents who English is not their first language. This has been a significant challenge and need for us in fiscal 24, especially working with various relatively new initiatives to us, like the routine pediatric immunization clinics at the public schools, our clinics at the emergency assistance shelters, and in settings like those, oftentimes phone interpretation is very difficult because you're trying to work with the patient with your hands and then you're passing the phone back and forth. And so we're working on some equipment, and of course that equipment will require a subscription to utilize video interpretation. And so, of course, we will only use that when it is necessary. We're not going to overuse the video interpretation, but I think it will be very beneficial for us to utilize when we really have the need, like at those types of activities that I mentioned. Anybody have any questions? All right. And then the last line item is travel. This is just mileage for mostly the public health nurse traveling in between the communities and charging mileage for things like traveling to another town for DOT or something of the like. And I believe that is, oh, there's two more. Almost there, guys. The agency administrative support, that is a stipend for Fitchburg to support work that is required to be done by other departments to support the MPHN. An example might be HR, IT, auditing, other departments that interface with the MPHN to keep us running smoothly. And lastly, training and credentialing, also not much of a change from fiscal 24. This funds various trainings that regional staff may attend, webinars that have an expense associated with them. And that is all for fiscal year 25. Does anybody have any questions?
Any comments, questions?
Under agency administrative support, you couldn't make that a even 9650, so you don't have 20 cents?
So our total budget has 80 cents, and so we have to put the 80 cents somewhere, because the total budget for fiscal 25 is 555,779.80, and it has to be down to the cent exact. And so we have to budget for 80 cents somewhere, unfortunately.
I still don't have that. If your budget is 555,780, you're missing your 20 cents. You can't add that 20 cents and make line 4, agency administrative support 9650, and then the total becomes 555,780.
Yeah, we can't change our total allocated budget, though, unfortunately. So
You're not. You don't. You're 20 cents in the minus.
So our total budget that we've been allocated is 555. Oh, I see. The contract amount up in the top right is incorrect. It looked like it rounded. So if you look at the bottom, fill total 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. See how it says within budget 555,779.80. That is the correct budget amount. It looks like for some reason that cell that's in the top right corner rounded by 20 cents.
The public health excellence grant came with a 0.8.
Yes.
You're serious? They didn't round up?
No.
Totally serious.
Pardon?
Totally serious.
Yeah, and if we submit it 555,780, they will decline our budget. It has to be down to the cent.
I move the budget as presented.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Call.
What's up? You got the second? Is it Michelle?
Oh, I second.
Okay. Roll call. Athol. Hello? Athol?
Aye.
Thank you. Fitchburg?
Yes.
Gardner?
Aye.
Lemonster?
Aye.
Phillipston?
Aye.
Royalston?
Aye.
Sterling?
Dave? Dave, we need you. Move on.
All right. Templeton?
Yes.
Thank you.
Go back to David.
Sterling, could I get an answer, please? You're on mute. Do we have enough? 1, 2, 3,
Yeah,
4,
that's
5, 6, 7.
Okay. So
All right.
motion passes. Next on the agenda, sticking with
Sterling.
Victoria. Oh,
There he is.
it's David.
I'm sorry, this is Sterling for the delay. Aye.
Hi.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
All right, so moving on, sticking with Victoria for Impact Melanoma, respiratory clinics for the 2024-25 season, and North Central Free Medical Program.
We really should have switched up my agenda items, so I'm not sitting here blabbing to you guys for an hour. Time is it? Okay. Yeah. All right. Impact melanoma. The last meeting, we discussed the possibility of funding regional sunscreen dispensers, and I followed up with all of you indicating that that initiative was funded, and we were able to move forward with the purchase of our sunscreen dispensers. This is really exciting for us. We think this will be a great thing for the community. We received the final part we needed for the sunscreen dispensers last Thursday and finished putting them together on Friday. And as of Monday, I started reaching out to all of the towns who indicated interest, which was 12 out of the 13 MPHN communities, to begin distribution. And so on Monday, we distributed dispensers to Athol. Yesterday, we distributed dispensers to Gardner and Templeton. And hopefully today, we will continue on with some of the other communities and be finished by Friday. I have to say that when we were in Gardner yesterday, we went to the pool and encountered some very excited pool staff who were jumping out of their skin excited about these sunscreen dispensers. And so this is going to be great. We also had a very successful skin cancer screening clinic last month in Fitchburg. We screened 32 patients, and so definitely we'll plan to do that again. And I think that this will be a very positive partnership with Impact Melanoma, which is the organization that we purchased the sunscreen dispensers through. So thank you to MDPH for allowing this expense. It was one time allowable. They will not allow this again in the future. Unless they change their mind. So I'm glad we were able to get this in. Yes, Phil.
Once they're set up, what's the servicing protocol?
Yeah, so I think that will take us some time to figure out depending on the usage of each dispenser. Impact Melanoma suggested that they should be serviced once a week, which includes wiping them down so that they don't get clogged, opening up the dispenser and checking to make sure that there is enough sunscreen inside. That part is, of course, crucial because we don't want the health departments in our towns getting phone calls that the sunscreen dispensers are empty. With that being said, though, I think that we will likely have to service some of the dispensers less frequently and some of the dispensers more frequently. For example, at the pools, which include Gardner, Leominster, and Fitchburg and Clinton. Sorry if I'm forgetting any. We'll probably be there a bit more frequently than once a week. And some of the other places, like maybe the playground at Templeton Elementary, maybe only every other week. So I think we'll have to learn as we go and see what the needs of each dispenser are.
Just thinking, you probably prefer secure sites, obviously.
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So I did chat with Impact Melanoma about that to gather their experience on if there had been any issues with either vandalism or the dispensers being stolen. And they have never had a dispenser stolen before, so let's not be the first for that. They have had dispensers vandalized before, in which case they will replace it and have us put it in a different location. If it's vandalized again in the different location, then it becomes our responsibility to, deal with that. But the dispensers are not all in locked spaces. And the Impact said that they would be shocked if they were stolen. So I guess we will learn for ourselves in our towns.
What holds them up?
So it's like a hand sanitizer dispenser with a round base and a pole, and then the sunscreen dispenser is at the top.
Is the base weighted?
It's
Can the wind,
No, I don't think
Wind
unless there's
cannot-
really strong wind, I don't
we've
think.
been having strong wind, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, they're pretty heavy.
They're pretty stable, yeah. I mean, time will tell, but they're pretty stable. They're designed to stay on their own. It's not weighted, but it is heavy enough that I think it'll stay pretty stable.
So a location that more secure than less secure is better, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say I wouldn't skip out on a place like a beach if the beach isn't locked up at night, because a beach would be a great place for a sunscreen dispenser. But for example, in Gardner, we have it inside of the pool area where the pool's locked up at night. So I think it just depends on, your town and what types of outdoor spaces you have.
Okay.
Any questions about the sunscreen dispensers? I will also say, Lori, since we have you here, we met one of the parks employees yesterday when we were dropping off dispensers in Templeton, and she was also very excited out there taking pictures of it and everything. So
Must have been Candace.
yeah, she was excited. So
Good.
that's great. All right. I will move on from the dispensers. Next thing are respiratory clinics, very briefly. The ACIP is making a vote on COVID vaccine recommendations for the fall tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock, I believe. And so once we have a vote on the recommendations, which I would imagine would be very similar to last fall, we will go ahead and get going on our schedule for the fall, and I will be in touch with each one of you regarding that. Any questions on our clinics for the fall? No questions? All right. And next item, also trying to be brief since we are behind. So in the past year or so, we have had a great amount of trouble, particularly with our school districts requiring our assistance with their students who are new arrivals to Massachusetts, whether it be from another state or another country, needing certain types of health care that are required for school attendance, like immunizations and physical exams. Lead screenings is another one. But due to the time that it takes to get onto health insurance, get onto a primary care provider, get an appointment with the primary care provider, utilizing the traditional healthcare system has been difficult for the schools because everything just takes so long. And as you guys know, exclusions with the immunizations eventually come into play. And so we've tried some various strategies for addressing this issue, including referring our students who are in need of these types of services to the the Worcester Free Care Program. There are several free care clinics in Worcester that we have been sending our residents to, but unfortunately they are overwhelming. They are overwhelmed and way beyond their capacity, often operating, an hour or two beyond their typical closure time. We also collaborated with the CareMobile, UMass Memorial's CareMobile, which came to Fitchburg and Leominster in the fall, but the challenge with the CareMobile is their capacity is very limited. Though we were very grateful for their collaboration, they can only do a small number of patients per day, which is 6, and also their ability to visit the MPHN on a regular basis is limited because they primarily work out of Worcester, and also they have almost no ability to visit outside of UMass Memorial service area, which would be Gardner, for example. So we are working on opening a free care program in Fitchburg to address these challenges. This will operate on a twice monthly basis in the evenings for 2 hours. It will be hosted at a local church in a church basement, And the clinic will be fully staffed by volunteer clinicians from all walks of the medical field, including nurses, nursing students, medical residents, attendings, nurse practitioners, pharmacists, phlebotomists, etc. So I have written some grants and secured some grant funding. We have secured some local partnerships in the area with Fitchburg State University, their nursing program. Fitchburg Family Practice has a family medicine residency program that has graciously agreed to collaborate with us on this. And so my intention is that we will have this ready by late August, I'm hoping, and that this will serve as a resource for our school districts in the area to refer their students who are in need of services. So not just Fitchburg, but also the surrounding communities, and especially including our cities, Leominster and Gardner. I could talk more about this, but don't want to talk your ears off. Does anybody have any questions? I believe not. Sorry, I apologize. Right, Micah?
What was the question?
We can't have communication from the audience?
I don't believe so.
Yeah, okay. Any questions from anybody? Nothing?
Okay.
All right. I will pass it back to you, Micah, and I think that's all from me. Thank you guys for being patient.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is Catherine with opioid abatement funds, the survey results, the FY25 Public Health Excellence Work Plan, monthly meeting preference, and Board of Health member training requirements.
All right, thank you, Micah. I'm going to try to go through a little bit more quickly. Opioid abatement funds, our last meeting in April, we had spoken, asked towns if they knew what was happening with their town with their opioid abatement funds, and if you were interested in pooling those funds for a project within the MPHN, even if it's not all the towns in the MPHN, we can still pool them to work at a regional project. And I am hoping for answers from towns on if they got that answer now. Laura, are you able to do a roll just to know if yes or no, if we're able to, if you want to pool those funds?
I sure can.
Thank you.
Athol?
Still being decided.
Okay. Fitchburg?
Yes.
Gardner?
Yes.
Leominster?
I did not get an answer yet.
Unsure, okay. Phillipston?
No answer yet.
Okay. Royalston?
We're interested.
Okay.
Just have to figure out where we're at. It's not a huge amount of money, but just as soon it go in one pot.
Right, and that's the advantage when you have a lower amount of money, that you're not doing that background work, but yet get the equal coverage. Yeah, and the way the money was dispersed was not evenly among towns per population. So yeah, thank you.
If I might, moving on, Sterling? Well, we'll move on. Templeton?
Our funds are currently designated to Gamma in Gardner.
Okay. And Dave, Sterling? I was giving him a moment for the delay.
Yeah. That's okay. We'll move on. That's something. Thank you. All right. So more to come on that, just trying to figure out where we are. So thank you for that. Next is MTCP program. So this was part of the survey that I had done among MPHN, trying to find out who was part of the tobacco use prevention program with the state. I got a couple of responses, and I had a admitted flaw with my survey that didn't tell me which towns the survey results were from, so I'm sorry about that. Lesson learned for sure. And I had a couple of results saying that yes, that the towns know we're not part of MTCP, the tobacco use prevention program with the state, but I'm not sure who those are. So if I can have another role for that, please, and thank you, Laura, for the tobacco use prevention.
Certainly. Ethel?
Honestly, not sure.
They are.
They are.
On the fire, we had a,
Fitchburg,
Yes.
Gardner,
Yes.
Lemonster,
Yes.
Phillipston.
Well, I think it's the MP. I
Yeah,
know it's
it's
the
the-
Lemonster use, but,
The one with Joan.
okay, yes.
Royalston,
Yes.
Sterling, Templeton.
Yes.
We'll jump Sterling for a moment. Sterling?
I better wake them up.
Okay, no answer from Sterling.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on again. It's a mystery as to who else is not part of that. I had a couple of say they were not, so
I believe Sterling is not part of that.
maybe Sterling is not. Okay, we'll try to get that answer. Thank you again, Laura. We'll move on next to the FY25 Public Health Excellence Grant Work Plan. So the work plan had to be developed and submitted by the middle of June. So some of the things that I discovered working with Steve with the survey results that I had done with you guys and working throughout the towns to see where gaps might be and what kind of projects are needed. We have 4 performance standards goals to work on for FY25. The first one is, I will read exactly how it's listed on our work plan with PHE. Identify areas for improvement in inspection processes and provide targeted training to enhance the effectiveness and consistency of inspections across all participating municipalities. And the inspection type is food protection. So we're going to be going through all of the MPH and cities and towns to just check on their reports, their inspection reports for food protection services, to make sure that they're consistent among all the cities and towns and that they're being done on the correct forms and such, and looking for areas of improvement and going through that. So that's objective 1. Objective 2, a performance standard, is very similar to that, but in the same thing in Title V. So we'll be doing the review of Title V reports among all the cities and towns, looking for areas of improvement and making sure the standards are being met, the performance standards that the state is looking for on those forms. And looking for consistency. So those 2 areas will be areas of focus. Number 3 is this tobacco use prevention and getting the cities and towns who are not part of the state tobacco use prevention program to get them into that program and to get them the same supports that the other towns, cities and towns have for that. And then our 4th performance standard objective is to facilitate targeted training opportunities for staff members to address gaps in meeting the performance standards for local public health. So again, the performance standards that are listed by the state for different areas of public health, the different inspections and staff members to be up to speed with that. So we're going to help get everybody on the same page and have that consistency among the MPHN and get you the supports you need for training. Anybody have any questions about those 4 things in the work plan? All right. So, and with that, there will be some meetings coming up, obviously, so we can see where everybody is. I'm looking to get a monthly meeting preference day, so I'll be reaching out to the cities and towns. We won't do that today, but just to see if you have, I'd like to meet monthly with each city and town. Some of the smaller towns maybe we'll do bi-monthly, but if you have questions and if we need to go through anything with your inspectional services that we're going to focus on with the work plan. And then lastly, one of the things that came up with the survey was some questions about Board of Health members and their training requirements. What it's called with the state is, excuse me, is workforce standards, so different than performance standards, but workforce standards with the state. And the question on the survey that I had sent out through the MPHN was, are your Board of Health members up to date with their training requirements? And Board of Health members do have training requirements with the state. One of them being they should be let me just pull it up here. It is available on mass.gov, and if anybody needs some help finding that or what those requirements are, you can reach out to me. Board of Health members should have the foundations course, which is available. You can find it from mass.gov. And the orientation to local public health. Those things have to be, the sort of courses about public health should be taken by your Board of Health members, even if they're not doing any inspections. Yes, Phil?
How many units is the foundation course?
It's several, it's many, many, I should say. Yeah, it's extensive. Yeah, for sure. And so.
And the second one, it's not as many.
Correct. Yeah.
Foundation course quite.
It's extensive. Yes, it is. Yeah.
And I think you're going to have, some of us have it because we work in the field, but it's the ones that don't. Foundation course, again, it's very time consuming.
It is very time consuming. It is a big ask. Yeah.
Same thing with when you get into the food inspector one, just the prerequisites are just very, very time consuming.
Yeah, I agree, and that's why I think there's a lot of confusion among what Board of Health members have to have. But this is the ask from the state, is that they have some of these things. There are waivers available, so for people who have been in the field for a long time but don't have some of these requirements, there are waivers available to them. So that's certainly something that can be done as well. And
more, I think if we phrase it, if we set it up where the second one, the organizational one, is first, we're more likely to get them to do those. If you stick them with the foundation class first, I think you're going to lose them. Yeah. And they're just not going to bother with it. And again, it depends on the boards, but you know, I'm thinking of Phillipston's board, for example. It would be an issue. So I think we should form this with the idea of success first.
I agree.
And what's more likely to ease them in. I mean, most now can do, technology, because that's the only way we're going to get them to do it is through Zoom and sitting down at a computer for a fixed amount of time.
Yeah.
So I think we really need to think about that moving forward.
About the presentation.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, the foundation's, I've taken it. I've also been a trainer, so it's quite intensive.
Yeah.
It's very good,
It is complicated. I'm in the
we
middle.
wanna
I'm in the
keep-
middle of it now, so I can attest.
Yeah,
it is
so you know what I'm
complicated.
talking about,
Yes,
right?
yes, I do. Yeah, for
We
sure.
wanna keep-
Live course, though.
It's not a live course. It's online, self-paced.
We want to keep our members.
Yes, we do. Yes, yes, we do. Yes, yes, and that's why these waivers are available too. So that's something that I want everybody to know, that if these requirements are not being met, that these waivers are available to ask for. That if these workforce standards are not met, we need to either work on them, and if you're not able to work on them, we don't want to lose Board of Health members. We want them to apply for waivers, and they will, to my knowledge, they will be granted those waivers based on years of experience in the field.
Maybe.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. True, yeah. Steve? Did you have something to add? No.
Nothing to add.
Okay. All right. Any other questions for now? I'm going to move into, if you have no more questions to me, it is a good transition because we have Michelle from our training hub here. And we wanted to have her available for some questions and answers. She has some information for us. And the training hub, the use of a training hub is crucial to meeting these performance standards and the workforce standards met for all board members and health department staff. And so Michelle is here to speak with us, and I introduce Michelle from our training hub.
Yes, good morning, everybody. It's good to see some familiar faces here. My name is Michelle Quesapanta, and I'm the Public Health Training Manager for the Central Massachusetts Public Health Training Hub. We are located under CMRPC in Worcester, and we are 1 out of 10 training hubs that DPH is funding throughout the state. We cover about 6 shared services arrangements, totaling about 44 municipalities. So a little bit about the training hub, or before I start, I want to start a little bit about myself. Before I got to this position, I started in August, but I was an inspector. I started my career in Framingham as a public health inspector, and then moved to Natick as an inspector there as well. So I bring a lot of food, housing, Title V, camps, swimming pool, nuisances, you name it, experience for to be able to train everybody. Our training hub, we're currently in the process of getting trained by the central trainers. But a little bit more about the program is I wanted to see you all as a resource that you can reach out if you have any questions, whether it's housing, food. I don't know, sometimes when you come to food establishments and you're like, what is this? I've never seen this. I'm always a call or an email away. Always there to support. But to understand a little bit more about the training hub, the local public health training program follows 3 tiers. We are in Tier 3. Tier 1 is the foundational knowledge, which we kind of touch base on the prerequisites. Those prerequisites are available in Train and in other FDA modules that they have as well. For a list, we have a whole list of prerequisites courses in our website. I will be providing actually a small summary of what the public health of our public health training hub is about, but also what entails. After tier 1, after you complete your prerequisites, you have Tier 2, which are the local public health intensive training courses. And those are the ones that were offered not too long ago for food and housing back in the spring, where there were a lot of courses that the state put out for housing and food. But you had to take some of the prerequisites also to be able to participate and sign up for these courses. So that's what I've been sending emails. You probably saw my emails. Hey, make sure you're following up. If you completed your courses, make sure you finish your prerequisites. So after you complete Tier 1 and Tier 2, you are now eligible to complete Tier 3, which is the applied practice under the training hub or under me. Again, we're in the process of getting DPH Central trainers are currently training the training hubs throughout the state, and I'm currently being trained as we started the training this week, and that went amazing. But we have to complete at least 5 inspections, and I'll be happy to come back once, staff is ready to train and whatnot. I'll be happy to come back and present what it will entail, that training. Because there will be some assessment in terms of like, what would I be looking for? Kind of like a checklist in a way. But I would love to go over that with you in more detail once this training is up and running. In the meantime, I've been providing a lot of informal training, trying to get to know the communities, trying to get to know the staff, inspection, see where the level or where the gaps are within the local public health inspectors. So I've been providing those informal training and assistance to new or current inspectors. I'd be happy to answer more questions. I know there were kind of some questions regarding the workforce standards on terms of what our Board of Health members and inspectors and clerical staff are allowed to take, because they are now some standards that is not enforceable, but they are required to take. So there is a whole, I provided, you know what, I'm just going to send these over if that's okay. We can share this with you all. There is a QR code, but if it's easier, there's also a website. There's also information on the DPH website. We also have our training hub. We also have a website that has a lot of information and resources for you all. So I created some tips of how to conduct housing inspections, how to conduct food inspections, additional resources such as there were a lot of questions about housing court and how to prepare for housing court. So we hosted a webinar on this past Thursday, and if you didn't get the webinar, the presentation slides and the documents related to that webinar is available on our website as well. But again, we want to make sure that we're able to fill in those gaps that that inspectors may need. And with CMRPC, we do work closely with one of the 3 out of the 6 shared services that we cover, where I helped with their work plans for their fiscal year of 2024, in completing some of the procedures, for instance, of how to do food inspections on terms of misbranding and frozen related issues. So I created a whole spreadsheet that it's also available on our website. I think I wanted to make sure, even when I started in the field, there were not a lot of, I shouldn't be saying field, even if I didn't start it in this position, there was not a lot of training out there other than, yes, take the local public health institute courses and shadow some people and you're all set. So with these standards or with these performance, the whole point of the blueprint was to make sure that all public health staff throughout the state are equally, and not equally, but just uniform and standardized trained by someone who's experienced. So I kind of see this moving forward in terms of I want to be able to support you all, work with you all as well. So I'll be happy to continue this relationship and coming into either quarterly meetings and providing some updates on the training hub as well. But if you have any questions, yeah.
What do you mean by training the hub trainers?
Training the hub trainings, yes. So DPH has they're called the central trainers, which is there's 2 under the food protection program, and there should be 2 under the house or under the community sanitation program. Those central trainers will be providing training to all of the hub trainers across the state. So it'll be me, but any other trainers in my position. Like I mentioned, there are 10 statewide training hubs funded by DPH. So there's either 1 or 2 or 3 trainers in each hub. Currently, CMRPC or under CMRPC, we only have 1, but we will be hiring another one hopefully in 2025.
Since we're one of the larger networks, and since we've been here for quite a while, we're a little more established. Mm-hmm. Is there a way somehow to not condense, find a way that can reach out to our particular needs? So we have two basic areas. We have, which I see probably as the one in need more, is our Board of Health members. And then we have our professional staff. Not all our towns have professional staff, but we all have Board of Health members. And they serve in different capacities. The Board of Health members that have professional staff tend to be less hands-on, whereas those that don't have staff are more hands-on. So their way, I see our particular need probably is for our Board of Health members. Is there a way to address that in such a way that it's not overwhelming?
Yes, and I think that was an issue that even we, as part of the central training or central Mass, we are aware of the different roles that every municipality has and the limitations that they have as well. Sometimes are part-time, sometimes are full-times, right? But I think the role, and I guess I want to see you all as a resource to be able to support you all. So whether, yes, these are the workforce standards, but I don't want you all to feel intimidated by it. I definitely understand there are different waivers to meet these standards, but I want to make sure that, we're all working as part of the MPHN. You all have a work plans to work on throughout the year. I'm happy and available to help out as well. I think trying to be less intimidated with the prerequisites. I know this was something that was a discussion in one of our meetings as the part of the training hub with DPH on sending this email, and all of these people who have been in their careers for the past 10 plus years are not required to take these. So it was some pushback on that end, but I think we're trying to be flexible in terms of these. The prerequisites are to be completed on your own. Yes, maybe there's a time frame, maybe there's not, but there will be more local public health. It's called Local Public Health Intensive Training, the LFITs courses offered throughout the year. So it's not like if we're not able to make it in one, you'll be able to make it on the other one. So we're trying to be more flexible on those terms. So yes, I understand the need on that for sure.
I have a question too, Michelle. Has there been any discussion about having like that foundations course that's so many hours long, an in-person version that would, kind of an abbreviated? I know they have the clerk version that's less intense and it's much shorter. But it seems that Board of Health members maybe would benefit from that without having the time constraint of the full foundations course. Has there been any discussion related to one of those things?
No, that I am aware of. Okay. I know if I remember correctly, the foundational public health course are 10 total courses, and some of them are either an hour long or 30 minutes long. I get that. Some of these courses were also offered before, so everything was transitioned to a new type of program called Train. And anything, even if Board of Health members took some courses in the past and they were not able to find, or they're not able to find their certificates, let me know. I'll be happy to connect you with that person. There is a time frame, I guess, end of June, but I don't want it to be confusing for everybody. But let me know if you have issues, if you completed any of those courses before and you can't access to the local public health institute anymore because it sunsetted back in March. I'd be happy to connect with a person and get in touch with that. But it hasn't been a conversation as of, can we condense this to Boards of Health members? I know the main goal is to have everybody take the foundation courses. And part of the foundational courses it's also divided, or part of the whole prerequisite. So it's kind of like seeing hand to hand in a way. If you complete your foundational course, you're kind of halfway and completed the rest of the housing and food prerequisites. Nothing else?
I think. Any other questions? Any other questions for Michelle? Right. Use her as a resource. She's here for us.
I'm here for you all. Thank you for having me.
Next on the agenda is announcements, new and old business. Does anyone have any comments, announcements? Okay. So do I have a motion to adjourn?
One sec.
Yep.
Just want to confirm our next meeting's August 28th, week before, while school's back, those that have kids in school. That'll be available via Zoom too, right?
Correct. It'll be the
Always
same format
both,
as
right,
now.
'cause
Yep.
I won't
Yep.
be physically here, but I can Zoom.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and second to adjourn. If there's no objection, I will take this under unanimous consent.
I believe I do have to do a roll call. on
Okay,
that.
roll call on that
The
as
man
well.
behind the curtain will object.
Yeah, okay, roll call vote.
Okay, Ethel.
Flicked on, flicked off. Jane?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Fitchburg,
Yes.
Gardner,
Yes.
Lemonster.
Yes.
Phillipston.
Yes.
Princeton.
Princeton's not here.
Oh, Princeton's, I do have him that crossed off. Sorry, Royalston.
Yes.
Sterling.
Yes, I figured it out.
Sterling, good job. And Templeton.
Yes.
Thank you.
We are adjourned.